Welcome to Technology and Education Today. I'm Richard Smith.
And I'm Caroline Crawford, and we're going to be talking about MOOCs today. Basically, the quality of MOOCs has come into question. The whole concept of we'll have free education for everyone around the world, doesn't cost anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the original concept of MOOCs as I heard it when the MOOCs first came around.
Great idea.
As long as a year ago.
Wonderful concept. 4 years ago, I guess.
No, I think
it's a great
I don't think it was 4 years. But whenever it came out, the idea of the MOOC was it was going to be, just as the title said, a massive open online course where anybody across the world could enter the course, register for the course at no cost, and learn
just their own time and effort.
The same things that anybody, for instance, at the school like Harvard or whoever else is in MIT, whoever else might be involved in the MOOCs, is Stanford and what have you. And
great opportunities to hear from strong minds on this different topics.
Yes, and interestingly, it hasn't worked out the way it was originally intended. This idea of the free, open, online, massive free, open online course. There was some problems with it.
What?
Well, first of all, the course was massive, but not that many people finished the entire course.
So retention was an issue.
Retention was a big issue. And
did anyone bother contacting people to find out why they dropped out partway through? Because it may be that the subject matter, they didn't have enough of a base in the subject matter area of expertise to understand and keep up with the information. It may be the instructional design, which I would suggest is a major issue in MOOCs.
It could be any number of things, but what is clear, and if I'm looking at an article here that appeared recently, and let's take it, for example, Udacity, the founder is Sebastian Thrun, and he actually said, our original MOOCs were not too terribly well designed. And
I'm shocked.
And what's
someone who has nothing to do with education, has never developed so much as an online course, all of a sudden starts developing MOOCs, and it didn't go so well, huh?
Well,
I'm shocked.
It turned out that the original MOOCs, for the most part, were designed more by people who were not really education specialists. They may have been subject area specialists at the university level. And when they designed the courses, they did what for the new technology, or this new way of delivering the courses through a MOOC, they did what everybody else does for the most part in educational technology, and that is did not bother to look at the research that dealt with these types of courses that had already been accomplished. So they started out as if there was absolutely no research available for them, and they went ahead and...
That's fun, isn't it? So many people do that, no matter what new topic comes in. All of a sudden, a new invention. We need brand new research out there.
Yes.
It's already been done.
It's already been done.
50 times it's already been done.
This happened with radio in the classroom. It happened with film in the classroom. And we're talking about in the early 1900s. Same phenomenon occurs when the television entered the classroom, instructional television entered the classroom. Each and every time there's a band of enthusiasts that get together and say, this is the greatest thing. It has to be in every classroom. And they don't bother to see what's happened before with other technologies. And hence, although what they want to implement might be very good, they make the same types of mistakes that were originally done with those other technologies.
Well, the energy and excitement is wonderful, absolutely great. Unfortunately, the knowledge base is not there, or even if it is there, it's ignored.
So let's take a case of the MOOCs. And MOOCs are offered by all sorts of universities: Stanford, Harvard, MIT. University of Texas. Just every time you turn around, there's another university with a
jumping
MOOC.
On the bandwagon.
And so two things happen. The people who design the MOOCs don't bother to see what their predecessors did, and that would be online education or distance education. And that has been going on for 100, 200 years. So they went ahead and made some of the same mistakes. And basically what they did was to lecture via video through the MOOC. So they delivered the same thing as you would deliver as a lecture in a classroom, except that the lecture, instead of just going to 50 students or 25 students was now going to 200,000 or 300,000 students, with the assumption now, as you mentioned, that one, all the students were at the correct level to understand what the lecturer was saying, and two, all the students understood English well enough to follow this. Three, all the students had access to the technology that they would need, and the technology was reliable. That wasn't, I don't think too much attention was paid to that.
And four, the professor is not only a brilliant researcher and grant writer, but also knows something about instruction and the instructional process. Just because you're a subject matter expert does not mean that you're a strong instructor.
Yes, so
just like everything else, we need instruction. How do you become a strong instructor?
right. So yeah, basically you had a course, a MOOC that, and I've taken one or two MOOCs and gone into them, where you have a lecturer on the part of a professor, and it varies. The quality of the lecture is going to vary with the television presence of the lecturer. And then you have assigned readings that may or may not be required. And then in order to add a bit of interactivity, there is group work, which has to be checked one way or another.
How can you have group work within a MOOC environment?
Because the students are communicating, or discussions are communicating with each other. Of course, there's no way to really, for the professor to
moderate, facilitate.
To moderate, facilitate, or check on what the students are doing within these groups in any really effective way. So you have to do sort of a workaround. But at any rate, what they discovered was students were dropping out, and there was a certain amount of cost attached to these MOOCs. Something had to be done. So now what happens?
They're brilliant. Here, we'll give it to you for free, and then take it away, or you have to pay.
Doesn't work. Well, what happens?
Nice bait and switch.
In order. Well,
the reality of the world, someone has to pay the cost.
The MOOC is still there, but in order to gain value from the MOOC, you have to now get. It's become obvious that you must present something to an employer, and that something is a certificate, or what we call is a badge that indicates that you have taken the MOOC and you have learned at a certain level, whatever the level might be for that particular MOOC. However, in order to get that badge or that certificate, you now have to pay X amount of money, and that's how these MOOCs, the MOOC publishers or companies, are making money. So the idea of the free education for everybody is via the MOOCs is down the drain.
Does this badge actually mean anything in the real world?
It tends to, yes. The pressure is on for companies to accept the badge or the certificate as having a certain amount of value, whether or not
such as a for-profit versus not-for-profit higher education degree.
There's at least one university, an engineering school, I believe now, that's offering its entire degree via a MOOC. Whether the employers will see that degree that you've earned as part of a MOOC equal to what you have learned on campus, that remains to be seen. My own personal opinion is that online learning is
difficult enough.
It's difficult, right? It's difficult enough. A difficult enough process in a small class environment when you have 10, 15 students to gain what you would gain in a face-to-face class. You have to have a really good design, really effective design, and in a MOOC, which tries to be but it's by its nature has to be everything to everyone. I think it's even more difficult.
Which is close to impossible.
Close to impossible. So I think we've hit the highlights of MOOCs. I think there's definitely hope for them, but I think there's not going to be any free lunch.
Well,
and I don't think the
forethought
universities have
as to what the educational theories, learning theories, the research has suggested.
All that
that
sort
would be
of stuff
useful.
Needs to be taken into consideration, but for another show, another edition.
So the discussion about an instructional designer would be a great idea.
We'll have
we
a
can leave that
discussion
for later.
on instructional design another time. You've been watching Technology and Education Today. I'm Richard Smith.
And I'm Caroline Crawford. Bye.